I'm going to share my screen. So I'll call the meeting to order. This is the subcommittee, communications committee of the school building committee. It's May 27th, 12:05 p.m. Here's our agenda for the day. Should be 3 quick things because I think we've been working on this. So I'll pull up the communications plan. I think Catherine's gone through these as well already, just as another set of eyes as the chair. I think this is in decent shape. I'm not sure if I tried to put the links in here where we weren't going to have to update links constantly. It brings you to a general landing page, not a specific document, if you know what I mean. Mm-hmm. And the only thing that wasn't on here that we haven't really talked about was this. I have not created an SBC Facebook page, but I'm assuming that it's something we probably ought to do. Because I don't think going through the schools page is the right way to do it. Or I guess we could go through the town of Willington's page, but we don't have a lot of control over that. What are your thoughts on that?
Did you just say you did not want to go through the schools?
Not everyone has access to the school page. It's actually, I think you have to ask to enter. It's not okay. Like a wide open public page, if you know what I mean.
But you will use the Willington, not the Willington Wire, but what is our school email system that goes home every Friday?
Oh yeah, digital backpack, yes.
And you'll use that.
Correct. Do we want our own Facebook page that is SBC related? You know, it's in here. So if we put it into our communications plan, it means, and we bring this to the committee, we need to do it. So the question is, do we want to do that?
I think we should. I'm wondering who, I mean, do we have somebody that's going to do that? You know, like, well,
the way I look at this, Gary, is, you know, I could create it and it's going to be stagnant. The only time it's going to, you know, it's not going to be public comment on there. We could have the general information on the contact information, you know, kind of really this type of stuff down here. Like, what's your chance? If there's a flyer that comes up, it would go on there. If there's a meeting date, we could put it on there, but it's not necessarily going to be a back and forth. It's not meant to be, you know, we could have the email address on it.
Yeah,
but
I think so. Go ahead, Ann.
It's a one-way street going out.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I would say yes. It's another way for us to get information out to the public. So yes, I think it's important to do that.
So would you say this is accurate then, to allow questions? I mean, we wrote on there, answers will be provided through the FAQ document. So
I don't know. I think as soon as you're allowing questions, you're starting to open up the back and forth. And I think no matter how many times you say it, that the answers will be in the FAQ, I think people might still expect answers there.
So if I just did this and ended it at meeting information and took out the rest of that.
Yeah.
Are you better with that?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Also, I think, you know, we'll also provide answers elsewhere, you know, and maybe, you know, through the meetings, posting of the meeting recordings, through the wire, other places. So I wouldn't limit it to just that.
Right.
Okay. And the other thing is, and I don't know the answer to this, is it possible to have a Facebook that doesn't have the whole commenting thing under it? So in other words, only we could post something, but nothing else could be added to that.
So. Yes.
Okay. I think if we can do that, I think we're good.
I'll mess with it. I'll mess with it before our next meeting, Ann. So that way, when we present this, I'll say, yeah, it's a go or no. And if it's a no, we'll just take this part off.
Yeah.
And I think the idea there is to drive questions through the email, right? If people have questions or concerns, they go to the email address.
Correct. The email address would be tied right to it. Perfect. So that's a good segue, because this is something that was, by the way, I changed the headings kind of information sharing strategies, and then I made it community engagement opportunities, so they kind of knew how they could engage. And Gary, to your point, like this is important. This is part of the Willington Wire stuff. Here are the meeting schedule. Here are the agendas. Here's where you can click for minutes. Here's the YouTube page. All of those things.
Mm-hmm.
The email is set up right now not to go to Catherine because she's not an employee.
No.
It's set up to go to, right now it just goes to Erica and my inbox. I don't anticipate that we're going to get a ton. We haven't gotten a single one yet. But whatever comes in, we can track, we can save, and I can bring that information to the committee about, here's a question that came in, over a period of time, we'll have 30 questions, and which ones do we think are already on the FAQ, and which ones do we need to address now? So, is that clear the way that's stated though? This is emails monitored by the communications subcommittee?
I think so.
Okay.
Yes, yeah.
Okay,
I had
so-
just a couple of things under at the beginning, under publications.
Yep.
Now, are we on the town website or the school website?
School website.
Okay, all righty, very good. And then let's see, when you talked about accurate information regarding school building committee proceedings can be located by accessing their website. Would you want to link that one too, just to kind of, if they want to access, they can just do it right then and there, or have them look for it down below?
You mean like link this here?
Yeah, communication. Let me see if I can find you there. I'm
tried
on
to-
my phone, so it's small.
I think they're all in. I did this in reason, on kind of on purpose here, and
Okay,
put them all in this information sharing strategy. So if they're in this section, they
okay,
know that they've got the Willington Wire, they've got the website, they've got our building page.
Yeah.
What other things would I link?
okay. Well, here's one thing that would clarify it a little bit. You call it the website up above. Okay, and is it the web page? Is it the school building committee web page, which is further down in blue? Right under frequently asked questions, school building committee web page. It's a silly little detail thing, but
Yep.
if you
So
use the
it is
same,
it is a web page. It's not a website.
so you could change website to web page, and then there wouldn't be any question there. And then do you want to call the school email communication system digital backpack? Because parents would recognize that, or just leave it at, that's under email communication system.
I was worried other people wouldn't know what digital backpack was, and that would be more confusing to them.
Yeah, could you use both terms? You could say the town and digital backpack, school email communication system.
What is the
whatever.
town system called? E-alert. What's the system called?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
I'm not sure.
I
can try to look real quick.
So e-alerts. Yep. So maybe what I'll do here is I can I go right back to the right document. What if I did this? I'm just trying to figure out. And school email communication. It's not going to be called digital backpack though. It's going to be called school messenger, because digital backpack is what we call it. It's going to be the school messenger.
Okay.
I don't know will people know what that is. Gary, do you know what school messenger is? Yeah, I wondered.
Nope.
You would know what digital backpack is though.
Yep.
I would use digital backpack if you can.
So is that better the way you see it now, Ann?
Okay, let me peek.
It says the town e-alert and school email communication.
Perfect. Yeah, that's good. Okay,
And maybe I'll put this in parentheses.
to parallel it. Yep, that's good. And then they would know what to look for. You know, they're looking for e-alert, and the parents who are receiving digital backpack would know that that's where they would expect to find it.
Yep. Anything
Okay.
else on this?
Let me just look on the second
I'll make
page.
sure that all websites are changed to web page.
Okay, not, it's a little thing, but
Nope, I like consistency too.
okay. Okay, looks good.
Gary, you good with this one?
Yep, definitely.
Okay, so second item was the FAQ documents. So I spent some time on this just to, I have a document that I took from other towns. I think I told you this. It probably has 400 questions on it from lots of different FAQs to see what was answered. And it was, I think Gary used the word overwhelm, and I agreed. It was too much. This gives a good snapshot with a good core of information, without going back into Board of Ed process, you know, before the building committee, which it gets confusing, I think. So I
Mhm.
tried to take that stuff out and then try to combine several of the questions. So the how we got here, I tried to keep a really simple introduction. This is basically directly from the charge. And then, you know, where you can find information on the meetings, you know, it's all right there on and they're all hyperlinked.
Yep.
You've got the Friar study information. I'll change that to web page. Gary, I'm assuming you're this orange edition.
Yes, that's me.
So I read those. I was fine with all those little things. And you know, Brenda and I read this, but we always want somebody else to read them too.
Yeah.
So that's perfect. Those are all good additions. I think I added this after I sent you the link to these documents again.
Okay.
So I just wanted to make sure you saw that.
No, that was in there. Yeah, I mean, my comment was based on that.
Okay, so you probably hadn't seen it before. I sent you the link and then I added it. So if you had already took the time to look at it, I wanted to make sure I highlighted that was newer.
Yeah, I did see that.
And Gary, I think Anne had the same comment about this, and I think Brenda even said the same thing. I'm not sure how we want to state it because it's tied to the Friar study, but we need to state something. I think people think capital projects are, you know, going to cost $500,000 and we're done.
Right.
And we have a couple projects right now that are probably all close to $1 million.
Right.
So,
I mean, it's maybe it's keeping it simple here, but really it's the idea to me is like the numbers are close, they're comparable, right? So like they're not exactly the same, you know, but it's like the numbers are pretty close in terms of, you know, renovating everything as new and then building a new school. I just think we have to say that somehow to get people thinking about that.
So what's the question? Do you think that is going to be? Is that, you know, how much would it cost just to complete capital projects?
I think it's more related to the question you already asked. Why don't we simply continue educating the students in the current buildings? I guess it's, you know, they're both connected, but
And that, oh dear, that could be.
We hear you. We just don't see you, Ann. There you are.
I got a phone call came in. I never got it on my computer, so I'm on my phone. I think this could be another bullet maybe under why don't we educate them in the current building. But I think more important than the capital improvement is all of the stuff that pops up. Like the boiler and the septic, like the septic system never got to be on the capital improvement plan.
No.
And I think those are the ones that are things that are really taxing the operating budget, for the school when you mentioned that. So I think, the capital improvement is important that it's a possibility to maintain things that way. But I think it's those things that come up now, even the roofs,
So, and maybe I'm looking at this question down here at the bottom where you wrote, I'm not sure if that was one or town-wide, and right for the Band-Aids, right? So is your point here, do we write this in as the total estimated cost to complete all the capital projects according to the Fryer report is $11 million? Is that answer what you're looking to put in here, Gary?
Well, the tough part is that we know those numbers aren't right anymore, right? So as soon as you put numbers in there, I think it makes it tough.
Millions though, it's not, you know what I mean?
Yeah. But if you're gonna do that, I would compare it to something. I would say, the cost of that is according to the Fryer report, the cost of that is this. The cost at the time to build a new school was this, just so that you're not just saying a number that's out there, you're showing the comparison. I think that's the thing I'm trying to get to.
And the other thing you could do to take care of the change in prices is to use, yes, perfect, 217, good. These are 217 prices.
I'm just typing out loud too, but identify the cost of, I'm just going to say $11 million to complete. I'm not going to say it in all capital improvements.
And we should also mention somehow, Phil, that's all locally. We're responsible for all of that.
That's locally, what I was going to say. Many of, actually, I'm going to say the majority of projects do not, and I'm just giving.
Or the town would be responsible to pay for. Are you frozen, Phil? Yeah, I think
looks like it. I thought he was just working.
Either that or he's thinking.
Oh boy.
We need to get him a new internet system.
That's right. Yeah. We'll put that. Oh, I'm the host. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, everyone. We're just pausing here while we wait for Mr. Stevens to return. I don't know what happens with the recording when this happens, but it looks like it's still recording.
It's still recording. Yeah.
Okay. Here we go.
And I think we need to mention too about how we spend a whole lot of money that doesn't go to capital improvements for all these emergency repairs because the buildings are so old.
Yeah, I mean, it might make sense to add more about just a whole nother paragraph about CIP and what's in there and what's not, because not everything's in our 5-year CIP plan.
Right. At the same time, I mean, yeah, we might want to do all this stuff, but to me here, it's a simple point, right? The point is that, well, why would we build another school why don't we just fix everything? And the answer is, well, it's going to cost us just about as much to fix everything in these old, outdated buildings as it would cost to build a new school. That's kind of what I just want to get across.
And the unexpected.
Right.
Yeah.
Gary, does that help get your point across? Or, I mean.
Yeah, I think, I mean, yes, it definitely helps. It definitely helps.
Because this is why I put this number in here. Because I was trying to say 600,000 is about what they generally, spend annually.
Mhm.
And that's one project for us.
Right.
And that 600,000 is townwide.
Right.
Yeah.
That's why I tried to get
Mm.
that across.
Mhm.
All right, so Gary, can I close your checkpoints?
Sure.
You're satisfied with that?
Mhm.
Delete just, I agree. I was reread that. Why don't we regionalize our schools?
Phil, while we're in this neighborhood, there's the question about will landowners be approached?
Did I pass it? Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I was wondering, should we add in the first paragraph, third line up, add or donating to in selling?
I actually thought about the same thing. I don't know if this is what Phil was thinking or not, but you may be raising expectations there. That was just my thought about it. Yeah, it'd be great to
Yeah.
have donation, but I think the expectation should be that the town would need to buy something. But I mean, it would be great if somebody would donate it. That's fantastic. I just wondered about expectations there, Phil. I don't know if that was your thought process or not.
Yeah, what did you think, Phil? What do you think about that?
So, Ann, you're saying to put that in?
Well, I'm suggesting, after selling, putting or donating. Up here.
Honestly, I don't think we can say that until the land group decides that.
Okay,
I think they're gonna, once they decide they want to get a message out, I think they're gonna ask us to craft that message, and I wouldn't want to put that in here prior to, I mean, some of this could spark that anyways. Someone could go, oh, well, I'd be interested in donating. I don't even want to get any money for it. They could figure that out themselves. It doesn't take
Right.
okay,
having to write
okay.
it. If that makes
And
sense.
then the conversation becomes, it's a different conversation. So yeah, I agree.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Take this out of green. All right, then we would also have correct. We would. Well, Brenda asked the same question. Why is this last statement in here? And I think it's important because Mansfield wouldn't even be interested at all right now. We could take that statement out. We could leave it in, but it's
I think it's relevant.
this right here is what it's kind of said in a different way there, Gary. I'm not sure if that's good enough for you.
Yeah, I guess that works. I must have missed that.
All right, and then
I think that's relevant about Mansfield because what they've done is they've created a school that they fit in.
Yeah.
So they're not going to have extra space,
because Costa told them to.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, Costa won't let them bring in any more kids.
All right, so how about these? I thought let's just go one by one. Are there any of these that you wanted to answer? I thought like this is way ahead. We're not to that point yet.
Yeah.
If we get there, we can add that in. Are you okay if I delete that for now?
Yep.
Yes.
This right here, are we limited on the size of the school? I put that answer into a prior response about square footage and enrollment.
Yep.
Okay.
And right now renovation it doesn't matter what renovation will reimburse, right?
Yeah. The acreage is in there. I think this is, we're going to get to this at some point, but that's going to be the Board of Ed. They're going to be identifying what they're looking for space. I don't want to get into the pros and cons because my pros and cons or your pros and cons could be different than somebody else's. So
right.
We said factual, let's leave it at that. This capital projects question, and I think you had this. I think I blended those together of what's in there already.
Yep.
Take that out. And then this critical emergency status, I think that's just part of, and you were saying that a minute ago, and I don't know that we really addressed it, but
Yeah, I think that fits right after the option of capital improvements. And it's just another reason that that capital improvement option does not work, is that there's in old buildings, there's constantly going to be emergency repairs needed.
So if I don't put the question and I just say the capital improvement plan does not include funding for emergencies
Emergency repairs or
that occur. Yeah.
in old buildings.
All right. I can rephrase that too. As long as you're. Any other questions you think we're missing?
The only one I thought, Phil, that and you deleted some piece of that was, should we say what the reimbursement rate, the state reimbursement rate is somewhere? Just ask that question. What's the state reimbursement rate for?
You know, my concern with that, Gary, is as soon as I give a reimbursement rate, what are they going to want with it? What's the cost?
Right.
I don't know that we have the cost yet. And my concern also is if I give the reimbursement rate and I'm hoping Costa is going to talk about this, a reimbursement rate of 65% for renovation versus 55% new. The 65% looks better, but when you talk about the things that are not included in that, they're close to being equal. So
Okay.
I just want to make sure we're not putting out a number thinking people are going to get more money back, because that might not be the case.
Yep. Okay.
Phil, one more note that I had. Let's see, why don't we just regionalize our schools?
Yep.
If you go, I think it's 4 lines up from the bottom, host district would require taxpayers to pay, suggesting that we add tuition, transportation and special ed costs. Because I don't know that tuition was mentioned, and that would be a big expense.
There you go. Also, the host district would require practices to pay tuition, transportation, and special education costs. Yep. That's a
And
really
then
good point.
one other little silly thing is Mansfield is in the process of building a new pre-K through 4 school, just to kind of define if we were to regionalize with them, that's what that would look.
Yeah, good for me.
One other point, going back to the first paragraph, how did we get here? When you talk about the professional facility study, do you want to mention completed by Fryer, just so when they get to the bottom and they see Fryer, they'll connect that with that professional facility study mentioned in the first paragraph?
Education and professional police.
So if they think at the top, I want to look at that Fryer study, that study, they'll connect Fryer to the study at the bottom for the link.
Yep.
Or even put it in parentheses.
That's what I'm doing. I'm putting it in parentheses over here.
Okay.
Okay. Anything else?
Nope.
No, I think it looks good.
All right. There's a go. So we'll get that out. It's much shorter. It's concise. We can always add to it. And then the last item on the agenda, I think, was the Willington Wire article. Catherine read. I think Catherine read this too. Gary, I have no idea what we had there before, but I'm fine with what you wrote.
I don't think we had anything before. I think
Okay.
we just hadn't said when we started meeting, so that was the only point.
Perfect. And I think I wrote to the committee here to collect data and provide recommendations for the future of our. I think he was invited by the school building committee to tour the Willington schools to collect data and provide recommendations to the committee. I think that makes more sense than for the future of our buildings, but I could go either way. Any thoughts on that?
You could use both recommendations for the futures of our buildings to the school committee.
I don't think it matters.
Too word. I think that's too wordy, Ann.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, if it's fine, I'll leave it alone. I wasn't sure. All right,
Fine.
anything else on that one? I mean, it was straight to the point. Tried to be. I mean, this won't come out until July, I think, anyways. So I was trying
You know,
to.
for the first paragraph, let's see, I had thought maybe just to make it more of a paragraph, let's see, the Willington School Building Committee continues to work through prior data and gather new information to make a recommendation to plan for future school facilities or something.
Don't we said hold on.
blending things together. I would say
Yeah.
the charge.
I thought we had the charge there. Why don't we just say like towards its charge or something? Or, you know,
Well,
I
I'm
thought we
just
had the charge
thinking
in there.
Yeah, if there's someone who's just reading it for the first time and doesn't know what is going on, know that there is a school building committee and
Say what you add. Tell me what you added at the end, Ann.
okay, to make the Willington School Building Committee continues to work, and since January, we'll
Yeah.
add Gary's through prior data and gather new information to make a recommendation to for future school facilities or to plan for future school facilities. I mean, is our purpose to make a recommendation in the end of what, or no, it's more than that, really?
Well, I mean, we're simplifying, but that's okay. I mean, some of the things in the charge are really specific. I mean, in the
Mhm.
end, you're making a recommendation to, the townspeople how we move forward. What were you gonna say, Gary?
I was just thinking about the way it's written. I can get into that if you want or not, but I was going to say, work through prior data and gather new information in order to recommend. I don't know. See, I knew this was going to happen.
A future school facilities plan, to recommend a plan.
I don't know if that's what we're supposed to do, though. Yeah, I think that's fine.
And really, is it about a preschool through grade 8 building? That's what our charge
Yes.
is.
Yeah, and that's
Yeah.
good to get that in there too. Yeah.
Mhm.
To make a recommendation for a plan for future. Well, are we?
And you could use this right here to define a pre-K through grade 8 school. I mean, maybe we use exactly what's in the charge.
So we could use recommend.
Use the work through a school prior to information in order to define
Okay.
a
Okay.
pre-K through grade 8 school to meet Wellington's education needs in cooperation with the Board of Education.
Do we need to say that last part?
No, we can just say that to
Yeah.
meet the needs, the
Yeah.
stop it needs. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm trying to be very cautious about keeping, for me as a person, having been through the
Mhm.
Board of Ed piece, keeping recommendation in. I mean, I know what I want, but as a committee, we need to come together with you know what I mean? That's why I keep going back to the word recommendation. That's good.
Well,
I think
it's going
that's
to be
good,
how you
Phil.
define it. So that's what's in there.
Yeah, that's good.
All right, so I'll share this update with Catherine, and if she's good with it, I'll forward this off. This is due sometime early next week, so I can get that done. Unless you have anything else on that one?
Nope, that's
No,
great.
I think it looks good.
All right. If you don't have anything else, then we can adjourn at 12:40 if you're good with that. Let me stop sharing.